Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that the life you're living doesn't actually belong to you. What if every decision you've made, every belief you hold, and even your deepest desires weren't truly yours, but were shaped by your environment, society, or unseen influences? Think about it. How much of your identity comes from within, and how much is molded by external pressures, social conditioning, and subconscious suggestions? How many times have you felt like you were merely playing a role written by society, as if you were following a script you never agreed to? Have you ever considered that the fears lurking in the back of your mind, or the way you were raised, have constantly assigned you a role? How often have you pushed your true self aside just to be accepted or to fit in? Today, we'll follow the trail of one of Carl Gustav Jung's most profound insights. According to Jung, real life only begins when you find yourself. But what does it truly mean to find yourself? Is it just about self-awareness, or is it a much deeper, transformative journey? Let's explore this together, because what you're about to learn could change not only the way you see yourself, but also how you interact with the world. Before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring you more thought-provoking content. Now let's get started. Many people go through life never truly discovering who they are. In the final part of this video, we'll share a powerful awareness that could completely reshape both your self-perception and your interactions with the world. Carl Gustav Jung was a pioneer of deep psychology. He ventured beyond conventional mental frameworks, uncovering the vast layers beneath consciousness. Unlike mainstream psychology, which often focused on social conformity, Jung believed that psychological growth depended on a process he called individuation, the journey toward our true, authentic self. Yet even when people sense something is missing, they often ignore that inner discomfort and keep going. They mistake external validation, success, and fitting in for happiness. But deep down, a part of them is always searching. Jung famously said, "Real life begins when you stop running from yourself." However, before we understand what it means to find ourselves, we must first explore why so many people never manage to do so. From the moment we are born, we are given names, identities, and roles. Society, family, culture, and our environment dictate which behaviors are acceptable and which are not. This process is slow and subtle, making it difficult to question. Over time, we learn to suppress parts of ourselves that don't align with societal expectations. Think back to your childhood. Were there moments when you expressed yourself freely but were met with disapproval? Maybe you were told that being too imaginative was unrealistic. Perhaps your emotions were dismissed as too much. Or maybe certain desires were deemed inappropriate. Over time, these reactions led you to hide parts of yourself. This is how you unconsciously started building what Jung called the persona, the version of yourself you present to the world. The persona is useful for social functioning, forming relationships, and gaining approval. But here's the problem. When we over-identify with our persona, we lose touch with our real selves. We start believing we are this mask we wear. Yet beneath the persona lies something much deeper, our true self. But there's another side to this, what Jung called the shadow. While the persona is the face we show the world, the shadow consists of everything we suppress: our fears, desires, vulnerabilities, and even hidden strengths. And the most fascinating part? The shadow doesn't simply disappear. Even if we ignore it, it continues to influence us from the subconscious, shaping our emotions, reactions, and behaviors in subtle ways. For example, have you ever instantly disliked someone for no apparent reason, or felt irrationally irritated by a certain personality trait in others? According to Jung, the things we cannot tolerate in others often reflect parts of ourselves that we have repressed. But here's the key. Our shadow isn't our enemy. In fact, within it lies the key to self-discovery. Jung's greatest insight was this: psychological growth isn't about destroying the shadow, it's about integrating it. True power and freedom come from embracing the parts of ourselves that we've rejected. Are you ready to face this truth? Are you willing to look beyond the illusions of external expectations and see your authentic self? The next insights we'll explore might challenge everything you believe about yourself. Jung argued that our identity is far more complex than we realize. What we think of as ourselves is just the surface of a vast inner reality, one filled with forgotten memories, suppressed emotions, unexpressed desires, and untapped potential. Finding yourself isn't about inventing a new identity. It's about uncovering what has been buried inside you for years. Have you ever felt an unexplainable longing, as if you were meant for something greater? That's not just your imagination. It's your subconscious calling out to you. Jung referred to this process as individuation, the journey to wholeness. However, to embark on this journey, we must first confront the aspects of ourselves we've suppressed. This is where most people turn back, because facing your inner self requires immense courage. It means questioning beliefs you've held for years, confronting fears, and challenging internal conflicts that have shaped your life. Think about how often we distract ourselves, constantly working, scrolling through social media, watching or listening to something, anything to avoid silence. This isn't random. It's a defense mechanism we've built to avoid facing deeper questions. But no matter how much we avoid it, our repressed emotions don't just disappear. They manifest as anxiety, self-sabotage, unhealthy relationships, or an ongoing sense of being lost. Jung believed that our subconscious is always speaking to us. We just choose not to listen. But when we do, we start noticing patterns, understanding how our past wounds shape our choices, and realizing how our fears actually contain valuable lessons. So what's the next step? According to Jung, one of the most powerful ways to access the subconscious is through dreams and symbols. He saw dreams as messages from the soul, and creative expressions like art, writing, or music as tools to explore the unconscious. The moment you stop running and start investigating these hidden aspects of yourself, you begin reclaiming your true identity. Most people spend their entire lives disconnected from their true selves, following paths set for them by society. But you have a choice. You can break free from these illusions, shed the outdated fears and constraints, and uncover your most authentic, courageous self. Next, we'll dive even deeper, exploring ancient symbols and archetypes hidden within your psyche. These archetypes could be the key to unlocking your full potential. What you're about to learn might radically shift how you perceive yourself. Finding yourself isn't as simple as making a decision. It requires unraveling the patterns and conditioning that have shaped you. Jung's most groundbreaking idea was the existence of a collective unconscious, universal patterns inherited from our ancestors that shape our thoughts, emotions, and actions. These archetypes appear in myths, religions, literature, and even our dreams. Understanding these patterns is crucial for self-discovery, because once you recognize them, you begin to see that your struggles, fears, and desires are part of a much larger story, one that has been unfolding long before you were born. So, are you ready to go even deeper? If you found this insightful, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next part of this journey. There's so much more to uncover.